Hi, welcome back to the Quality Cup Life podcast. My name is Imani, and here we talk about how to live a better quality of life for young adults, how to make your own decisions, and how to create the life that you want to live instead of letting other people tell you how to live. So, thank you so much for listening, and let's get into the show. All right, hey, what's up? Welcome back to Quality Cup Life podcast. Okay, so this has nothing to do with the podcast episode, but if you have not seen the new Spider-Man movie and if you have not seen the new Batman movie, I need you to sprint to the theater. Okay, those are great movies. Anyway, okay, so in this podcast episode, I know some people may or may not like Kanye for whatever personal reasons, but we're going to talk about this documentary, okay? So, I have been seeing memes and stuff about it, and I was like, let me go check this thing out, because I'm usually either working on something or thinking about working something. I don't typically take the time to let me sit down and intentionally have some Imani time and let me watch something on the Netflix. So I decided to do that. I was like, let me check out this Kanye documentary, and I learned so much. So I did remember when Through the Wire was out, and I remember my favorite songs, Kanye songs, is probably Through the Wire and All Falls Down. Those are the Kanye songs I still listen to today. I don't really listen to this new stuff like that. I might check it out. But anyway, so I knew, if you listen to Through the Wire, I knew he got in a bad car accident, and I knew he had his mouth wired shut because he said it in the song and everything. But there was so much I didn't know. I didn't know that Kanye was a producer, and he was doing pretty well as a music producer before he started rapping and everything. I had no idea. And I had no idea he was producing pretty big hits for some hard hitters back in the days. And so I was like, there's another layer to Kanye that I did not know. So I think that was super cool. And this documentary series, after I watched it, I only watched the first episode and a half. So, but this is just my sort of thoughts and impression on it so far. But it's been really good, and it's been blowing my mind. It was very, very encouraging for me. And so hopefully, if you don't watch it, hopefully some of the things that I say can be encouraging for you. And so I have some notes, and so my general thoughts on the documentary, like I said, it was super inspiring to me, and it gave me more of an idea of the type of things that he went through. He didn't just shoot to stardom or whatever. This man had a whole background. I knew he was from Chicago, but he had a whole background, and the documentary was talking about that he had been making beats since he was 12, and he was rapping since he was a kid, and he learned a lot of things that got him that made him a successful producer from other producers in Chicago. And so I was just very, very impressed. And all this is happening, I think he was having it recorded, I think he was maybe around my age, maybe 25. I don't think he was over 25, so he was somewhere around that. And so one of the things that I took a note about was that he is that when you first have a dream for something, a lot of times it takes such a long time, and sometimes it can seem so impossible. You have to literally hang on to the dream for dear life, in your mind. You have to see the dream in your mind, because if you don't keep the picture of the dream or the goal or whatever in your mind, you're depending on your environment and your circumstances, you'll start to believe that is what's actually real for you and what's right for you and what you're supposed to be doing versus what you actually know you're supposed to be doing. And And so that blew my mind, because Kanye was, man, he, in the documentary, he literally like had to sell himself on the dream. He didn't wait for somebody else to sell himself on it or on his goals. He sold himself on it. Even when he just seemed like it was so far away, he sold himself, and that's what kept him going, and that's what kept him fighting until he got it. The next thing is, sometimes the people that you look up to and you respect, and they might have, low-key raised you, sometimes they become haters if you surpass their success, or if you become more than what they expected of you. Sometimes people start to feel insecure or insignificant or whatever, and then they start to dog you out sometimes, because this one guy who really helped him grow as a producer and taught him a lot of what he knew, I think he got upset. He did some kind of either radio interview or magazine interview, I don't remember which one it was, and he was talking to, kind of like talking crap about Kanye. And so Kanye and his crew, they were in his car, and Cootie, was recorded. Cootie is the guy who recorded the whole documentary. He was like, oh, let's go confront these dudes or whatever. So they saw them, they pulled the car over and went to go talk to him. And the guy that Kanye looked up to and it taught him a lot was like, I didn't mean to, to do that to you. You need to show respect. You said that this, and this was the reason why you're doing so well, and you didn't mention me. And so I felt like I needed to do this, and this, and it just didn't make sense. Like, if you felt like Kanye disrespected you and didn't give you your credit, go talk to him. You don't go on a public radio show and talk crap about him. Like, you go talk to him like a man, like he went to go talk to you like a man. Like, you don't just go and do stuff like that. But it was just, the bigger you get, man, sometimes people you thought was real, they was for you, become haters. Like, you be like, bro, what? And and if you watch the documentary, you can see on Kanye's face that he was really disappointed by that. He was like, dang, this dude, I really looked up to this man, and he gonna disrespect me like that in public, like in my own city. Like, that's crazy. The next thing I have is, I love how Cootie was so supportive of Kanye's freaking dream, and he was willing to take a back seat to film the journey, and apparently he saw something in Kanye that nobody else did. And I'm saying he took a back seat because Cootie was also doing his thing. He had his own TV show, channels. I think they called it Channel Zero. It wasn't nothing like huge, but it was big, like, for him, and it was big. They were showing, documenting Black culture and music and stuff like that. Nobody else was doing it at the time. So, and then he also was doing stand-up comedy. So, he was willing to put that down so he could document Kanye's experience. And apparently he like saw something in him, and he knew he was gonna be big one day. He just knew it. So he was like, I gotta drop everything. This man dropped everything and moved to New York from Chicago to film Kanye's documentary. Like, crazy. And another thing to add to that is that you gotta be around people who believe in you, like you believe in you, or just believe in you, kind of. You know what I mean? You gotta have people around you that believe in you, because if you don't, if those people do not believe in you, they will bring you down. For real. They'll bring you down. Another note that I took was, Kanye was let me back up a little bit. So, once Kanye became a pretty successful and, known producer, he was producing tracks for Jay-Z, and he was around all these different people when we were in the documentary. Pharrell, Jay-Z, Dame Dash, like the whole Rockefeller crew. I think D. Ray Davis popped up. It was just a lot of just random art. You like, oh, I know them. Oh. And then there was a lot of people that they put a name to them that I couldn't tell you who they were. To this day, they're not relevant to this day, but they were, doing pretty well back then. And or they were the next up and coming artist back then. But he was in the environment with a ton of successful people, doing exactly what he always dreamed of doing, which is amazing. That's awesome. Environment is very important, but they kind of like boxed him in as just a producer, and that's all they saw him as. Even though he would play them his songs, and he would talk about, yeah, I'm rapping and I'm trying to get a record deal and blah blah blah. That's all they saw him. Yeah, this man makes, fire beats and blah blah blah. And that's all they saw him as. And man, I bet that felt, I know he felt some kind of way being in the environment. You're right there, but the dream still seems like so far away. I know he felt some kind of way, because I would too. I felt some kind of way watching. I was like, dang, this man is so close yet so far. And then it took him forever to even get a record deal, even though I think Dame Dash was telling him, yeah, we're gonna sign him. It took him a while to even sign him, man. And then even after they signed him, it still took forever for them to release his stuff and promote his stuff. This man was going all around. He was hustling, telling everybody, yeah, I'm rapping, listening, letting people listen to his music, playing it for him, rapping in front of him, all of this stuff. And they're like, yeah, man, this is dope. And then they'd be like, all right, but what about them beats though? So I was like, dang, bro, that's crazy. And then finally he got signed at Rockefeller. They signed him, but it was clear that he wasn't the priority. They didn't think, I guess they was like, we signed him, cool, but they wasn't pushing like, yeah, Kanye, we got to get you, da da da. So he had to keep making beats to just sustain his living, because it was not like they was trying to push his music or nothing like that. And a lot of his music was already done. He was done with it. And they still was like, we got other things to do, so you're just gonna have to just figure that out. And so he was, of course, he was pushing his own stuff and getting on connections and getting on TV so he can promote his music. And then the car accident happened. I was like, oh man. And I actually did know about the car accident because one of my friends back in the day, I think it was middle school, because that was when I was talking to her. My old friend Raven, she was like obsessed with Kanye, and she had his CD, and that was when like Heartless and Love Lockdown, I think, and stuff like that was out, and it was really popular and everything. And she was talking about how his face is chubby because he was kind of fat, because it was probably because she said it was still a little swollen from him being in a real bad car accident and stuff. So I knew about it. I didn't know my man was broke up. His jaw was broken in 3 places. His jaw. I was like, yo, I didn't know that. That involves your dream. Rapping involves your mouth, and you get cracked up, all broken up in your jaw. Like that's wild. And so, the car accident happened, and he was still doing his music and recording and creating his album and everything. And Rockefeller still was like, put him on the back burner, you know what I'm saying? And man, how discouraging that must have been for him to be laying up in a hospital bed. His mouth is wired shut. He can barely speak. He's in so much pain. And he thought he was so close to his dream, and now it seems like his dream is fading away. Like, how much mental fortitude do you have to come back from that? And then to even think well, shoot, my mouth is still wired shut, but I've got to make this dream come true. So I'm gonna rap with my mouth. It isn't wired shut. Like, he's roughing like this. What, that's crazy. It just blows my mind. It reminds me of, y'all ever seen Get Rich or Die Trying with 50? after 50 got shot 9 times, his mouth was wired shut, because I think he got shot somewhere in his mouth too, and he was rapping with his mouth wired shut. So it made me think about that scene. But it's just wild to me that you even have the courage to even do something like that, and to be able to, and to want to play for people and be like, and then make a song about it. That's so crazy to me. That's so crazy. And man, it's you got to hear me on this. This man believed in himself so much that he was willing to carry the torch and carry the message of his music anywhere. It did not matter that the record label wasn't checking for him and wasn't pushing his stuff and wasn't looking for him to do this, and it did not matter. He was pushing his own stuff in other means. Like, he did not care. He was on he went on Def Jam. I forgot what the other thing was, and I remember watching his poetry on Def Jam. Not while it was on TV, but I remember I used to watch the Def Jam poetry sessions on YouTube a long time ago, and I remember watching this. I'm like, oh, like he did a poem, and it was some of the lyrics from All Falls Down. I was like, oh, I know that song. So I thought that he did that poem, and then he was like, oh, this is dope. Let me go put this in a song. But he used that to promote his song. That is so, like, that's genius. And that got more people, aware of him and all that. Because Def Poetry Jam was really big at the time. And I think I forget what my man name was that was married to Kamora Lee Simmons. Russell Simmons, that's his name, Russell Simmons. But man, like, he was not playing about his stuff. And I think we can all, I think, learn something from this documentary. You can't be waiting on nobody else to affirm your what it is you want to do. You got to believe in it. And I mean, his mom was all for it too. I love that his mom was like, yeah, he been doing this since he was 4, and I hooked him up with somebody who knew how to produce and all that. And then when he was discouraged and down his luck, I remember he went back home to Chicago and went to his mom's crib, and she was like, we gonna get it. She was so encouraging to him, and she just reaffirmed him with how awesome he is and how great his music is and how he's gonna make it, and don't matter what nobody say, you it. And I think that was right after they confronted my man, I can't remember what my man name is, that was talking crap about him on the radio show. I think that was after that, right after that, because he was sad, he was disappointed, and he went to his mom's crib, and his mom, I think that was it, I could be wrong, but his mom just really pumped him back up. And not just him, but all the guys that was wrote his little entourage with Cootie and the other maybe 2 or 3 guys or whatever. But I just thought that was so awesome that his mom was in support of it, because sometimes a lot of parents aren't in support of a dream that's not theirs. They just want to support what they know of or what they understand, or just the traditional whatever. This is stuff they understand, like more traditional, either it could be for work, it could be 9 to 5, or it could be factory work, because I know factory work was, pretty prominent up there in like Chicago area, or near like Detroit, Michigan and stuff like that. But I just thought that was just awesome. Let's hand clap for parents and family members that really be out here supporting their people. So yeah, those are my thoughts. And that was just what I got from the first episode and a half. I'm like, I would guess I'm like 20 minutes away from finishing the second episode. So I agree. I am in agreement. Kanye is a genius. Just off of those first 2 episodes, you're a genius for being able to pull yourself through all that, because he went through a lot, and it was just the first 2 episodes. So I can't imagine what it's gonna look like in the next few episodes. And then you got to think about where he was then versus where he is now. And he was talking about in the documentary, sidebar, he was talking about in the documentary how people knew him as Kanye West, but he said that he want to be so big to the point where people just gonna know him by Kanye. Cause somebody gonna say Kanye and they know what he talking about. It don't have to be Kanye West. So, oh, y'all, okay, I lied. So one more thing. This man already knew what his brand was gonna be. Like, before the record label started pushing his music and stuff, you know how a lot of artists, the record label would give them a brand, and it don't really feel like it's them, though. Kanye already knew his brand. He already knew what his brand was gonna be. And he already knew the type of stuff he was gonna be rapping about. Nobody else was gonna tell him what he was gonna do. He already came in with his own sound, his own style, his own brand, what he talked about, all of that, and it really just kind of set him apart. Not because the record label told him, oh, this is what's gonna set you apart. It was because he told himself, this is what's going to set me apart, and this is what is different about me, versus the next artist, because he's like, I'm not Jay-Z. I'm not all these other people that I made beats for. I'm Kanye West. So yeah, I need y'all to get on this documentary, or at least my notes of the documentary. Implement this stuff. Believe in yourself. Push your own stuff. Don't wait for somebody else to give you an opportunity. Create your own opportunities. And y'all let me know if y'all agree and what y'all thought about the documentary. I might have a part 2 to this because, haven't finished the documentary yet. But as I said before, I stand by what I said. Kanye is a genius. All right. Thanks, y'all, for watching or listening. Oh, also, y'all go leave a review for this podcast. I appreciate y'all. Y'all the best. Talk to y'all later. Bye.